Hey everybody, Cal Banyan here, Cal Banyan's Hypnosis, etc. on calbanyan.com. If you're watching this video anywhere except calbanyan.com, that's where you want to watch it, because in addition to the video, what we also have is additional text, images, information that just adds to the value of this hypnosis program. All right, let me see, what are we going to talk about today? Ooh. This is kind of interesting. It's very debatable. To me, it's not debatable, but to some people it's debatable. And that is, does depth of hypnosis matter? I think it does. Yes, depth does matter. I'm going to get into why that is and what you can do about it and some good stuff like that. All right. Well, guess who I've got back? So if you've been following the podcast, a few podcasts ago, I had a guest on, and that's Penny Chiasson. Now, let me tell you something. I've got her back, and we're going to do like 3 or 4 videos today and put them out once a week like we always do, and let me reintroduce you to her. So using my trusty clipboard here, Penny is a 5-pather. She's a certified professional hypnosis instructor. That means she can teach the courses that I teach, the 10-day certification super course, and also the 7-day Week of Power advanced course for people who are already certified. She's a nurse anesthetist, having worked in the medical profession for 25 years. She has presented at the National Guild of Hypnotists Convention, we call the NGH, and has her own pain management system that uses hypnosis instead of chemicals. I'm very happy to have her as part of the 5-Path IAHP professional hypnosis community, and you can watch her first appearance on this program by going to the link below, and or you can look up podcast 532. How you doing, Penny?
I'm doing great, Cal. It's good to be back.
So, what you gonna do now?
What am I gonna do now? Well, I'd like to introduce you, Cal Banyan, inventor, or rather creator of the systematic approach to advanced hypnosis, 5-Path, and someone who has 22 years of experience in this profession and very generously shares his experience and knowledge through these podcasts. Cal Banyan.
All right, so let's see what we're going to get into today. I have a feeling it's going to move along really quickly. And oh, before I get into it, let me just mention a little bit of news here. And now, if you're watching this around the time that it is coming out, and I know these videos will be on the internet for years and years to come, but right now we're getting ready to do the January 2019 NGH approved Banyan hypnosis certification course here in the Dallas area, and that's 10-day course, weekend off, starts on January 7th, details below. Also, we're planning on getting we are now getting ready for the July 8th through the 19th course, 2019. And if you're interested in other dates, just call our office. Then we've got the Week of Power coming up. The Week of Power is a 7-day course. We call it the advanced course, but it's really exactly the same as a 7-day course, except we don't spend as much time on the basics. We get right into the advanced stuff that we cover in the 10-day course: age regression work, advanced self-hypnosis, the secret language of feelings, the vertical model of the mind, all that really good stuff. All right, let's see if there's anything else. One of the things I want to say is, when I talk about the last day of class, we're going to get into this pretty soon here, but I see this a lot. I see people getting training, and then they're just kind of like kicked out the school door. They say, okay, bye, good luck. And we've had a saying around here for the 22 years I've been in this profession, and that's our success comes from your success. And so we've built a completely professional, huge support network just for you folks. So if you graduate one of our courses, you become part of the 5-Path International Association of Hypnosis Professionals community. And so I just want to get that off my chest and get it out there. You know, I'd like to see you not just take the class, but become a member of our community. All right. So Penny, you want to set this up? Depth does matter. What brought that to mind since you brought up the topic?
Yes, it's something that I've seen commonly discussed, and within the hypnosis community and within the 5-Path system, we have specific criteria for depth with the work that we do. But there are a lot of hypnotists out there passing on that depth doesn't matter. That what matters is that you can get the client emotional and engaged in what they're feeling, and then they will see change. And we work within the vertical model of the mind, And I really love that process, and I was just wanting to get a little bit more into that.
Okay, so yes, for years and years, and unfortunately some people are still teaching this, oh, it doesn't matter. You know, the light hypnosis is good enough. Medium hypnosis is good enough. You know, hypnoidal, light, medium. And you know what? If you want to constantly reinforce hypnotic inductions every day, you're right. That, you know, you can probably get some stuff done with that. But 5-pathers, we always work in the Harry Aaron stage 4, 5, or 6. Now, I just listed three levels. Let me go through all the levels in the Harry Aaron scale. Okay, hypnoidal, light, medium. Those are 1, 2, 3. And then stage 4, 5, and 6. 4, 5, and 6 are all somnambulistic. Now, 5-pathers have renamed his 4th level to something that works for us, and that is a threshold of somnambulism. In stage 4, if the individual's eyes are closed, they can hallucinate. So and our clients usually have their eyes closed, right? We don't say open your eyes, go into hypnosis. They close their eyes and go into hypnosis. And so we've shown that people can hallucinate with their eyes closed at stage 4. So that we call the threshold of somnambulism. And then stage 5 is full somnambulism, and stage 6 is profound somnambulism. Okay, so why do 5-pathers want somnambulism? Do you want to take a stab at that, and then I can fill in?
Certainly. Within somnambulism, we're getting into that subconscious mind. We're getting into the level where the beliefs and habits are formed based on our perceptions of events and the meaning that we assign to them. And if you want to get that rapid, insightful change, you need to work within that belief system that drives the habits.
Absolutely right. Now let me let you folks know something. So, when you have somnambulism, that allows people to hallucinate. Positive hallucinations, negative hallucinations, and so that allows us to use very powerful techniques that can generate insight. When you generate insight, it causes hypersuggestibility. If you've been following the podcast for a while, I've done podcasts on hypersuggestibility. I've published it in the National Guild of Hypnotists Journal. What that is, in hypersuggestibility, it allows someone to have an insight about themselves or their world while in hypnosis, and it forces the subconscious mind into a state of reorganization. And while it's in that state of reorganization, what happens is it is adopting that new way of thinking, feeling, and behaving, and we can attach hypnotic suggestions for what they came into to that hypersuggestibility. You see, hypersuggestibility is super important. It's a new concept, but hypersuggestibility, as I'm defining it, is that ability to cause someone to go into an extremely suggestible state in such that they know something that they didn't know before. As a result, you cannot unknow something. Once you know something, you know it. And so, like, for example, let's say your client thought, oh, because I'm female, I could never go very far in business. So she's got this belief, right? And then in the hypnosis, we find out where that belief was installed. We challenge the belief from the perception of the adult, and we can change it. Oh, I can be just as successful as men, for example, just pulling out an example, right? And so now they know something they didn't know before, and now I can give her suggestions that are consistent with that. And as the mind goes back into its less suggestible state, these suggestions that we give to the client that are in line with the new knowing become attached to it. And so those suggestions become permanent. So that's one of the big, big reasons we want to work in somnambulism. Just to run through that real quick is when we have somnambulism, we can use powerful techniques that allow us to generate insight. Once we've generated insight, they know something now that they didn't know before, it changes how they think, how they feel, and how they behave. and to aid in that change happening in the way that's consistent with what the client came in for. They came in for whatever it is, more confidence, to be better on their diet, whatever it is. We give them suggestions that are consistent with the idea they just, with the insight they just had. Now, well, Cal, you're saying you can use techniques. What are those techniques? Number one, age regression. When we bring the client's issue up and then we follow it back, and you can look up time tunneling technique on the internet, which is a particular kind of age regression technique that I developed. And you know, it's out there. I got articles on it. I've got videos on it here on this channel, on our website. It allows you to take people back through the main events of their life that reinforce this that old way of thinking and feeling all the way back to the first time, and then we can challenge those thoughts, those feelings of the child. How many times have we said to ourselves, boy, I wish I would have known then what I know now, right? Well, in hypnosis, if the hypnotist knows what he or she is doing, you can know then what you know now, because all of your thens are still in there. And we can pull them out and we can re-examine them and connect the adult aspect to the child aspect and allow the adult aspect to let the child know what the adult wished they would have known back then. The child becomes informed. It shifts what she thinks, what she feels, and how she behaves. Okay. So age regression. The other one, what I really like to do is forgiveness work of others and forgiveness of self, which is done by taking someone into somnambulism and then having them hallucinate that they're with the people in their lives. It might be one person or many people over a number of sessions that have really hurt them and maybe given them the wrong information about themselves. Oh, you're not good enough, you're not pretty enough, you're not smart enough, you know, you don't come from the right background, you're the wrong gender, you're the wrong race, whatever, to be successful. And what we can do is through the process, now this is big. Most people don't get this. The way we teach it with the 10 keys to forgiveness, it's another thing you can look up. Maybe I'll put a link below. Is that when we go through this forgiveness work, goal one, of course, is to get forgiveness. But you cannot get the level of forgiveness that I'm teaching without some level of insight. And they go, oh, as they re-examine the relationship with that person. And when they have insight, bam! Now we've got hypersuggestibility again. And so we need the somnambulism to do the forgiveness work because they're going to hallucinate being in a room with that individual, being coached by the hypnotist, so that an insight and a forgiveness can occur. Okay? You can't do that in pretend. You can't do that in role play nearly as powerfully as you can as if they are hallucinating being in front of that offender. And what I typically do is when I have these two people come together, my client and the offender, is I'll set up a round room with two straight back chairs, comfortable size room, comfortable distance, and then we put the offender in that other chair, and it is suggested that he or she cannot get up, cannot speak, can't do anything unless my client or I give him or her permission to do so. So it's a very safe environment for our client to actually say all the things they've always wanted to say. And with proper coaching, they will come to insight. This is why depth matters. You can't do that. Put somebody hallucinating being in front of their mother, father, sister, brother, cousin, lover, whoever it was that had angered them, okay, by causing them some kind of problem in their life. We also can use the same depth of hypnosis, somnambulism, to gain insight through a forgiveness of self process. The forgiveness of self process is identical in most ways to the forgiveness of others process I just spoke of, except instead of putting an offender in there, what I do is I have them hallucinate being in that room once again and sitting in a chair once again, just like before. And they've been through it because they've been through the forgiveness of others process first. And what happens is I have them sitting in front of a full-length mirror. Okay, and in front of them is the perfect reflection of my client, but it's not my client. It's going to be the part of them that made all the mistakes. And we're going to go through the history of those mistakes, and we're going to generate insight. Once again, insight creates hypersuggestibility, and we can attach suggestions for what she came in for to those insights. Now, this is why, as Penny was talking about, 5-pathers always work in the level of somnambulism, because 5-path, 5-phase advanced transformational hypnosis, has 5 phases. All 5 phases require somnambulism. Phase 1 is going to be the preparation, testing, and depth. At that point, we're going to do depth testing for somnambulism. Phase 2 is hypnotic age regression. Age regression generates insight. We need the somnambulism. Then phase 3, remember 5 phase, phase 3 is forgiveness of others. So through the forgiveness process, we're going to generate insight. Forgiveness of self, that also generates insight, hypersuggestibility. We need somnambulism, 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 somnambulism. Oh, you're asking about phase 5. You go, that's only phase 4, Cal. Yes, in some circumstances, there's a thing that exists called secondary gain. Secondary gain occurs when you've taken care of the cause of the problem, like we do in the first 4 phases of 5-path hypnosis, and it still continues. I mean, you've eliminated the cause. Well, what is happening is there's secondary gain, and that means there's something in the environment, in the now, that is either reinforcing or demanding the old behavior. And so I developed a special kind of parts therapy called parts mediation therapy. And I took the rules of standardized mediation, the kind that when countries are in conflict or companies are in conflict or even couples are in conflict, a trained certified mediator would go in and then mediate. And what I do in this process is I'm going to divide my client into the part that still wants to go in the old way and the part that wants to change. And I'll take them through the mediation process. And they hallucinate being divided into these 2 parts. You've got to have somnambulism to do that. And as we go through the mediation, insights are produced about why they were in conflict, and we come up with a win-win situation where both the part that want to do the old thing and the part that wants to change can come into agreement and make the change. So, gosh, if I was doing light hypnosis, none of that can be done. Light, hypnoidal, medium, you got to have somnambulism to use those truly powerful techniques. You got any more input on that, Penny?
You know what, Cal? I think that all of the phases are important, but our real secret weapon is that forgiveness of others. I've had more people come to me, and when we're doing pre-hypnosis interview and they talk about the things that have happened in their life, they will actually say, there's nothing that could ever make me forgive that person. But we end up getting that forgiveness, and it's profound. Yeah,
usually when I get to, well, it's the most profound thing they go through until they do forgiveness of self, usually. But the important thing is that we, as in somnambulism, taking them through the process like we do, they're able to have the insights they need to make, and we can use the tools like the 10 keys of forgiveness to give them a profound level of forgiveness. The more profound than they ever imagined, because this is forgiveness that's not based on forgetting about it. It's not forgiveness based on, pretending it never happened or anything like that, or just stuffing it down. It's really a transformational forgiveness. It's like an alchemy where we change the heavy negative emotions of anger, guilt, fear, into positive emotions like gratitude. When we do this at the highest level, and we discharge all the negative feelings, we can look back at the past and find the good in it. And that's really an important thing that the 5-pathers do. Good. What else you got in there? Anything else on the topic?
Cal, I think you pretty much covered it. That depth is important. And if you really want to get that transformational change, it's what you need to do.
Now, you do pain management, and just in a couple of minutes, obviously, you got to have somnambulism to do analgesia and anesthesia, right? So, I mean, it's blatantly obvious that depth matters in the medical field.
Yes, most definitely depth matters for that. And I don't necessarily do glove analgesia with all of my clients, but they can get spontaneous relief when they're in that state.
Perfect. All right, you want to wrap it up? Give them your website, and if you have any trainings coming up.
Yes, I actually have the 100-hour course coming up in April, and I will be opening up the free master class on the 4 pillars of effective pain management and hypnosis in February. You can go to my website, www.genesishypnosisms.com. The MS is for Mississippi. And just click on the training and workshops tab, and it'll take you to everything that I have available.
Awesome. Thank you, Penny. We'll have you back for a couple more at least, all right?
All right. Thank you so much, Cal, for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right, perfect. All right, you guys out there, I want to see you in class. I want to see you become a member of our community where you can really get the support and information that you need to either come into this profession, be a top-notch professional, or to be able to take your current practice to the next level, and the next level. Just like in hypnosis, you can always go deeper. In the hypnosis profession, you can always get better and do better. All right, with that, Cal Banyan signing off.